It's 11:47 p.m., almost midnight, when she decided to send that text. Amelia was 31 years old, bleeding on her bathroom floor, waiting to die, blood dripping from her split lip onto the cracked phone screen. The text meant for her sister went to a stranger. Wrong number. She didn't know he was a mafia boss. Didn't know his mother had sent the same text 20 years ago. Didn't know he'd ignored it. Found her dead 3 hours later. Didn't know he'd answered every desperate message since. She didn't know any of that. She just knew the reply came in 7 seconds. Address. Stay low. I'm coming. 7 minutes later, 5 men kicked down her door. Her nightmare ended. Her story began. What if one text could rewrite your fate? This is that story. 5 men in black moved through her home like shadows with purpose. Military precision. The leader, tall, dark-haired, eyes like winter storms, crossed the hallway in 3 strides. Victor had dragged Amelia out by the hair, was pulling back his fist when the stranger's hand caught it mid-swing. You just made the last mistake of your life. The voice was quiet, controlled, more terrifying than Victor's rage had ever been. Victor swung wildly. The stranger moved like water, sidestepped, twisted Victor's arm behind his back, slammed him face first into the wall. No wasted motion. Pure efficiency. The other 4 men secured the house, checked rooms, created perimeter. This wasn't a neighbor. This wasn't law enforcement. Amelia's vision blurred, but she caught his eyes and saw something unexpected. Recognition, not of her face, but of her pain. You're safe now, he said, kneeling beside her. My name is Hunter. I need you to trust me for the next few hours. Can you do that? She nodded. What choice did she have? What she didn't know yet was that Hunter Moretti ran Atlanta's most powerful underworld family. That he'd answered her desperate text because his mother's final message, 20 years ago, when he was 15, had gone unanswered while he was at a party. That he'd found her 3 hours too late. That he'd been waiting 20 years to make it right. Amelia woke in a private medical suite she didn't recognize. Not a hospital, no beeping machines, no intake forms, no police reports. Soft sheets. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Atlanta's skyline from a height she'd never seen before. A woman in scrubs tended her wounds without questions, gentle and efficient. Hunter sat in the corner reading case files, waiting. When a nurse left, he slid a folder across the bed. Keys to a secure apartment. Prepaid phone. $5,000 cash. Restraining order already filed. His voice was gentle, scarred by old grief. No strings. No debt. You walk away right now if you want. I just need to know you're safe. Amelia stared at the folder, at the keys, at this stranger who demolished her nightmare in 7 minutes. Why? Her voice cracked. Why risk everything for someone you don't know? Hunter's jaw tightened. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, when I was 15, my mother sent me a text. He's hurting me. Come home. I was at a party. Ignored it. Thought it could wait. He looked out the window, past the city. Found her 3 hours later. Too late. The silence between them held 20 years of regret. I answer every call now. Every message. He met her eyes. You weren't random. You were her second chance. Amelia's fingers traced the apartment key. This man, this dangerous, powerful man, was drowning in the same guilt that had kept her trapped. He'd spent 2 decades trying to save the mother he'd lost. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me yet, he said quietly. Healing is harder than surviving. 3 days in the apartment. Amelia stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Piedmont Park, watching joggers and families move through lives that felt impossibly normal. Everything was provided, clothes in her exact size, art supplies on the table. How did he know she painted? A phone with 1 contact saved Chem. The bruises were fading. The fear wasn't. She texted, "Why me? Why risk everything? An hour later, he knocked. Brought takeout pasta in containers that smelled like someone's grandmother's kitchen. Sat across from her at the small table, no walls between them, no guards outside. You want the truth? Hunter asked. I want to understand. My mother stayed because she thought she had nowhere to go. No money. No family who believed her. My father was connected. Cops, judges, the whole system. He pushed pasta around his plate. She sent that text as a last resort. And his voice cracked. I was 17, drunk at a party. Thought it could wait until morning. Hunter, I've built something in 20 years. Security. Resources. A network of people who answer when the system won't. He looked at her then, really looked. I can't save her, but I can answer the next call. And the one after that. Maybe that makes me a monster using guilt as motivation. I don't know anymore. Amelia reached across the table, touched his hand. He flinched, not from fear, but from surprise. You're not a monster, she said. Monsters don't give victims keys and freedom. Don't mistake resources for freedom, Amelia. Real freedom is what you build after you walk out that door. She pulled her hand back. He was right. She'd escaped Victor's cage. But healing? That was a longer road. Weeks passed. Hunter visited with groceries, never staying long. He taught her basic self-defense in the apartment building's private gym. How to break a chokehold, strike vulnerable points, move from trap to free. She was stronger. Her arms showed muscle where bruises had been. One evening after training, he lingered. His hand brushed hers as he handed her a water bottle. The air shifted. Amelia stepped back. I won't trade one cage for another. Her voice was steady. I need to know I can stand alone before I stand with anyone. She expected anger, argument, the familiar pattern of men who punished boundaries. Hunter nodded slowly, something like respect blooming in his expression. Then I'll wait, however long it takes. He left. The door closed softly, not slammed. For the first time in 10 years, a man had honored her boundary without rage. Amelia sat on the couch and cried. Not from pain, from possibility. For months later, Amelia walked into the Midtown Community Center wearing clothes she'd bought herself, carrying art supplies she'd chosen. The director, Ms. Patricia, a woman with kind eyes and gray locks, handed her a roster. 12 kids, ages 6 to 14, all trauma survivors. They need someone who understands. Patricia squeezed her hand. Welcome back to the living, honey. Art therapy. Her career before Victor had slowly cut her off from everything. Friends, family, work, self. Now she was teaching again, helping children paint their nightmares into something bearable. That evening, she met her sister Elena at a coffee shop. They hadn't spoken in 3 years. Victor's doing isolation by design. I'm sorry, Amelia said, for disappearing, for not. Elena grabbed her hand. You survived. That's all that matters. Tears streamed down both their faces. Is he really gone? Really? Restraining order. Hunter's lawyers are building a case. He can't touch me. This Hunter. Elena's eyes narrowed with protective suspicion. He's treating you right. He's keeping distance. Letting me heal. Amelia smiled. I think that's what right looks like. At home that night, she painted. Not the dark, chaotic storms she'd created in the first weeks. Now, storms with breaks of light. Cloud parting. The suggestion of sunrise. Healing wasn't linear, but it was happening. Her students' art show opened on a Saturday. The community center's walls filled with their work. Monsters turned into protectors. Dark houses filled with light. Self-portraits showing scars and strength. Amelia stood beside a painting by 7-year-old Maya, a girl escaping a storm into a garden. You helped her do that, a voice said behind her. Hunter. He stood in the back of the gallery, hands in his pockets, looking at the walls. Not at her, at the art. You came, she said, surprised. You invited me 3 weeks ago. Said I probably wouldn't come. He smiled slightly. I bought 3 paintings. The storms. They're beautiful. Why storms? Because you're not running from darkness anymore. You're painting through it. He met her eyes. That's the difference between surviving and living. After the show, they walked through Piedmont Park. Families picnicked. Dogs chased frisbees. Normal life flowing around them. I need to tell you something, Hunter said. About my work. I know you're not a security consultant. No. He stopped walking. I run operations the law can't touch. Mediate disputes. Protect people the system fails. It's gray. Dangerous. Necessary. He turned to face her. I'm not asking you to accept it blindly. But if we're going to be real, if this is going to be more than rescue, you need to know who I am. Amelia studied him. The man who'd answered her text, who'd given her freedom, who'd waited while she rebuilt herself. I won't ask you to be someone you're not, she said carefully. But if we do this, if we're real, I need to know you're choosing us over empire. Hunter's expression cracked. Vulnerability bled through. I've been building exits for 2 years, handing operations to people I trust, cooperating with federal investigations. He exhaled. This life? It's not forever. You're my reason to walk into daylight. You're leaving that world? For me. For us. For myself. He touched her face gently. You show me what it looks like to choose freedom over fear. I want that too. Amelia kissed him. Soft. Testing. Real. Then let's build something, she whispered. But shadows don't forgive easily. 2 weeks later, they cooked pasta in her apartment. His grandmother's recipe, flour everywhere, laughter over spilled wine. They danced badly to old jazz, feet tangled, his hand warm on her waist. Amelia wore a yellow dress. Hunter couldn't stop staring. This was normal, beautiful, theirs. Then his phone buzzed. He ignored it. Buzzed again. His jaw tightened. Marco Vitali. Rival family. Hunter's voice went flat. They know about you. Amelia felt ice flood her chest. What does that mean? It means you're leveraged now. It means I should send you somewhere safe until... No. She stepped back. I'm not running anymore. I'm not hiding while you handle things alone. Her voice was steel. We face this together, or not at all. Hunter stared at her, then slowly nodded. Together, he agreed. Outside the window, Atlanta glittered, unaware that love had just become a target. Security tightened. 2 of Hunter's men shadowed Amelia to work, discreet but present. She hated it, understood it, allowed it. One morning, a black SUV followed her to the community center. Not Hunter's. She texted him immediately. In the parking lot, Marco Vitali stepped out. 50, silver-haired, expensively dressed, chillingly polite. Amelia Hartley. I've heard so much about you. He smiled. Tell Hunter he can't protect everyone forever. Her hand moved to her phone, recording. Touch me and you'll regret it, she said clearly. Touch you. Marco laughed. I don't need to. The threat is enough. Hunter knows what I mean. He left. No violence. Just psychological warfare. When Hunter arrived 15 minutes later, rage vibrated off him. I'll end this. Tonight. No. Amelia showed him the recording. Violence is what they want. We're smarter than that. She'd captured everything. Marco's face, his threat, his license plate. They took it to an FBI contact Hunter had been cultivating. A woman named Agent Torres who'd been building a case against the Vitali family for years. This is perfect, Torres said. Keep feeding me evidence. Let them bury themselves. For the first time, Amelia saw Hunter choose strategy over vengeance. They were learning from each other. 6 months of careful peace. The FBI built their case. Hunter dismantled his operations piece by piece, going legitimate. Amelia thrived. Her program expanded. More kids enrolled. Funding came through. Then Elena called. Victor's out. Her voice shook. Technicality. His cousin pulled strings. He's been asking about you. Amelia's blood went cold. Hunter's first instinct was immediate elimination. Permanent solution. Amelia stopped him. I want to face him legally. Testify. Put him away for real. Amelia. Hunter, please. She grabbed his hands. If you make him disappear, I'll always wonder if I could have done it myself. I need to prove I'm not afraid anymore. Every muscle in Hunter's body screamed to protect her the only way he knew. But he saw her eyes, determined, clear, powerful. Okay, he said hoarsely. We do it your way. They worked with a victim's advocate, built an airtight case. Amelia attended court prep sessions, rehearsed testimony, found her voice growing stronger. But Victor wasn't playing by legal rules. The night before her court testimony, Amelia and Hunter sat on her balcony. City lights sprawled below. She was scared but resolute. My grandmother raised me after my mother died, Hunter said quietly. She was a tiny Italian woman who survived World War II. You know what she taught me? What? That strength isn't violence. It's choosing love anyway. He looked at her. She'd be proud of you. I'm proud of you. Amelia leaned against him. Can I tell you my worst fear? Anything. What if I love you because you saved me? What if I never figure out who I am without that? The words hurt to say. What if we're just trauma bonded? Hunter was quiet for a long time. Then take all the time you need. Travel. Finish your degree. Stand completely alone. His voice cracked. I'm not going anywhere. If we come back together, it'll be choice, not need. That might take months. A year. I'll wait. However long it takes. They held hands in silence, city breathing below them, making the hardest promise, to love each other enough to let go. Morning came too soon. Amelia stayed late at the community center, finishing a mural with her students. Storms turning to gardens. Darkness becoming light. The kids left, parents collected them one by one, until only silence remained. She cleaned brushes at the sink, humming. The lights flickered. The back door she knew she'd locked swung open. Victor stepped through, gun in hand, eyes wild with 2 months of festering rage. Did you really think a piece of paper could stop me? His voice shook. You're mine, Amelia. You've always been mine. Her hand moved, muscle memory from months of training, to the panic button Hunter had installed under the desk. Pressed. Then she stood tall, paint-stained hands steady. I was never yours, Victor. You never owned me. Her voice didn't shake. She wasn't the broken woman from the bathroom floor. This enraged him more. He'd expected fear, got defiance. Then you'll die free, he snarled, advancing. Amelia remembered every lesson. Stance, breathing, awareness. Victor lunged. She moved, knee to groin, exactly like Hunter taught. Victor doubled over, gun waving. She struck again, elbow to jaw, palm heel to nose. Not enough to win. He was bigger, stronger, trained in cruelty. But she wasn't cowering. He slammed her against the wall, gun pressed to her temple. You're nothing without that gangster protecting you. Wrong, Amelia gasped. I'm everything because I saved myself. She drove her thumb into his eye socket. The desperation move Hunter had shown her for life or death. Victor screamed, grip loosening. She twisted away, grabbed a palette knife from the art station, held it like a weapon. For 10 eternal seconds, she faced him alone, holding her ground. Then the doors exploded inward. Hunter and his men flooded the room. But those 10 seconds? She'd survived them herself. Hunter's gun was out, aimed at Victor's head. Every molecule of his being wanted to pull the trigger. End the threat. Protect her the only way he knew. Say the word. Hunter told Amelia, voice lethal with control. Victor cowered on the floor, bleeding, pathetic. Outside, sirens wailed. Red and blue lights painted the walls. Amelia stepped between Hunter and Victor, put her hand on the gun, lowered it. No, not like this. She turned to Victor, voice steady as stone. You go to prison. You face every woman you hurt. You lose in daylight, not shadows. FBI agent Torres entered with a tactical team. Marco Vitale's organization had crumbled 3 hours ago. Arrests, seizures, testimonies. Torres had been waiting for Victor. Victor Hayes, you're under arrest for attempted murder, stalking, assault. The list continued. Victor collapsed, weeping. Amelia watched him led away in handcuffs. Watched the nightmare end in daylight, not violence. Watched justice, real justice, take its course. Hunter holstered his gun, looked at her with something like awe. You chose the hard way, he said quietly. The right way, she corrected. Outside, as police processed the scene, Hunter pulled her close. I'm leaving the life, he said. For real. Testifying against everyone I know. Burning every bridge. I know. It'll be dangerous. They'll come after me. Then we face it together. Amelia touched his face. You taught me to fight. I'll teach you to heal. Deal. Hunter kissed her forehead. Deal. Above them, stars broke through Atlanta's light pollution. Rare. Beautiful. Possible. 3 months later, Amelia sat in the witness stand in downtown Atlanta's courthouse. Victor sat across the courtroom in orange, trying to make her flinch with his stare. She didn't flinch. Ms. Hartley, please describe the night of March 15th. Her voice was clear, detailed, unflinching. She recounted years of abuse, the escalation, the isolation, the night he'd nearly killed her. The defense attorney tried to rattle her, suggested she'd exaggerated, implied she'd wanted the attention. I wanted to survive, Amelia said calmly. That's not attention-seeking. That's human. Hunter watched from the gallery, hands clenched but silent. Elena sat beside him. Patricia from the community center. 12 of her students' parents. A courtroom full of witnesses to her strength. The jury deliberated 2 hours. Guilty on all counts: aggravated assault, attempted murder, stalking, witness intimidation. 20 years minimum, no parole. But the real victory came after. 5 other women came forward. Women Victor had hurt before Amelia. Women who'd been too afraid to speak. Amelia's testimony broke the dam. The judge acknowledged her courage publicly. Ms. Hartley, your bravery has given voice to survivors who thought they had none. Thank you. Victor was led away, screaming her name. It had no power now. Outside the courthouse, cameras flashed. Amelia stood in sunlight with Elena, both crying and laughing. You did it, Elena whispered. We did it, Amelia corrected. You never stopped believing I'd get out. Hunter waited at the bottom of the steps, respecting her moment. She walked down to him, took his hand. Thank you, she said. For what? For answering. For waiting. For letting me save myself. He kissed her gently. You did the hard part. 2 weeks later, Amelia booked a flight. 6 weeks through Europe, alone. Rome, Paris, Barcelona. She'd promised herself, and Hunter, that she'd stand completely independent before building a life with anyone. I'll miss you, Hunter said at the airport. I'll miss you too. She touched his face. But I need to know who I am without fear. Without rescue. Without you. I understand. He smiled, though his eyes were sad. Come home when you're ready. And if I'm never ready, then I'll have loved someone brave enough to choose herself. He kissed her forehead. That's enough. Amelia walked through security, didn't look back. She painted the Colosseum at sunrise. Ate pasta in tiny Roman trattorias, talking with locals in broken Italian. Walked Paris alone at night, unafraid. Stood in Barcelona's Sagrada Familia, overwhelmed by Gaudi's vision of light breaking through stone. In a quiet church, painting golden light through stained glass. Amelia had her revelation. She was whole, not because of Hunter, not despite him. She was complete as herself, healed, independent, strong. And she loved him, but not from need, not from gratitude, from choice. She called him, "Hunter, Amelia." His voice cracked with relief. "Are you okay?" "I'm perfect. I'm whole." She was crying and smiling. "I want to come home. Not to you, to us. If you'll still have me." Silence. Then, "I've been waiting. However long it takes. I'm ready now." The plane touched down in Atlanta 3 days later. Amelia walked through arrivals, scanning for his face. Hunter stood by the exit, flowers in hand, looking nervous. She ran to him. This time, she was running towards something, not away. Amelia returned to find Hunter's penthouse transformed. Boxes labeled "Donate." Walls stripped of expensive art. Files packed and organized. "You're really leaving," she said, touching a box labeled "Old Phones." "I'm already gone." Hunter gestured around. "Operations handed to Marcus. I'm cooperating with 3 federal investigations. Testifying next month against everyone I used to call friend." His voice was steady. "It's dangerous. I've had death threats. Lost people I thought were family." And Amelia prompted gently. "And I'm sleeping without nightmares for the first time in 20 years. He took her hands. "You saved me too, Amelia. I'm not who I was when I answered your text. We're both different people now." She kissed him. "Then let's build something as these new people." They talked through the night. Dreams, plans, boundaries. The boring, beautiful work of partnership. 3 months back together. They cooked, argued about movies, negotiated space and togetherness, like healthy adults learning each other's languages. Hunter met Elena properly, endured her protective interrogation over Sunday brunch. "You heard her. I'll make your life hell," Elena warned. "I'd expect nothing less," Hunter replied seriously. Elena softened. "She's different now. Stronger. Don't you forget that." "I won't." He looked at Amelia across the restaurant. "She reminds me every day." One evening, Amelia taught art therapy at the expanded community center. 20 kids now, twice weekly sessions, full funding from a grant she'd written herself. Hunter watched from the doorway as she helped a little girl paint a storm clearing the sky. After class, he waited while she cleaned up. "I have something for you," he said. He opened a small box. Inside, a sapphire ring, simple, beautiful, old. Amelia's breath caught. "My grandmother's," Hunter explained. "She gave it to me before she died. Said, 'Give this to someone who teaches you what love means.'" He looked at her. "I'm not asking you to marry me. Not yet." "Then what are you asking?" "I'm asking if you'll build a life with me. A real one. Business. Nonprofit for domestic violence survivors. A home. Maybe kids someday if you want." His voice was vulnerable. "Not rescue. Not protection. Partnership. We decide together. Always." It wasn't a proposal. It was an invitation to co-create. "Yes," Amelia whispered. "To all of it." She took the ring, slid it on her right hand. Not engagement, but promise. "We'll move it when we're ready," she said. "However long that takes." They stood in the empty community center, surrounded by children's artwork of storms becoming gardens, and kissed like people who'd found home. 1 year after the text that changed everything, they launched Second Chance Haven, a nonprofit providing housing, legal aid, therapy, and job training for domestic violence survivors. Hunter's cleaned resources, Amelia's therapeutic expertise, a board of survivors guiding every decision. Opening day, 12 women moved into their first residential home in East Atlanta. Nervous, hopeful, carrying everything they owned in trash bags and borrowed suitcases. Amelia greeted each one personally. Hunter stayed back, still learning when his presence helped versus intimidated. One woman, Maria, recognized him. Her ex-boyfriend had worked in his organization. "You're him," she said, voice shaking. "Moretti." The room went silent. Hunter said carefully. "I'm not anymore. But I understand if you can't trust that." Maria studied him, then looked at Amelia. "Is he safe?" Amelia didn't answer for him. "I trust him, but you need to decide for yourself. No one will force you to stay." They sat with Maria for 3 hours, shared their full story, answer hard questions, let her decide. She stayed. But they learned trust is earned daily, not given automatically. 6 months later, Second Chance Haven had expanded. 2 more homes, 40 women housed, hundreds more receiving legal aid and therapy. Thanksgiving, Amelia hosted at her apartment. Elena's family. Hunter's grandmother Sophia, 86 and still sharp. 12 people crammed around a table meant for 6. Chaos, laughter, mismatched plates, real family. Sophia pulled Amelia aside while Hunter carved turkey. "You brought my boy back from the shadows," the old woman said, taking her hands. "Thank you." Amelia shook her head gently. "We brought each other back." Later, Hunter and Amelia stood on the balcony watching the city glow. "I testify against Vitali next month," Hunter said quietly. Final bridge burned. Scared, terrified, Amelia took his hand. "We face it together." Inside, family laughed. Outside, the city hummed. They'd built something bigger than survival. It was messy, chosen, real. 2 years after one text changed everything, they married in Piedmont Park. Small ceremony. Survivors from Second Chance Haven as guests. Elena as maid of honor. Sophia in the front row, beaming. No luxury, no underworld connections. Just 2 people choosing each other in daylight. Amelia wore a simple white dress. Hunter cried during his vows. "I don't promise perfection," Amelia said. "I promise to choose you every day, even when it's hard." "I promise to keep choosing light," Hunter replied, voice breaking, "even when shadows call me home." Their vows were honest. Acknowledgement that healing isn't linear, that they'd stumble, that love is daily work. The guests, survivors all, stood and applauded. They understood. Real love isn't fairy tales. It's commitment through complexity. Sophia sobbed happily. Elena clutched tissues. The city watched 2 wounded souls choose wholeness together. They walked away hand in hand, beginning forever. 5 years later, Amelia taught art therapy full-time at 3 Second Chance Haven locations. Hunter ran a legitimate security consulting firm, advising law enforcement on organized crime. They had a daughter, Maya, 3 years old, painting storms and rainbows at the kitchen table. Life was beautifully ordinary. One evening, putting Maya to bed, Hunter's old burner phone, kept in a drawer, always charged, buzzed. A desperate text from an unknown number. "Please. He's going to kill me. Help." Hunter and Amelia looked at each other across Maya's bedroom. Understanding passed between them. She nodded. He texted back. "Address. Stay low. We're coming." They called their team, a network of survivors, therapists, safe houses, legal advocates. What started as one rescue was now a movement. They kissed Maya goodnight, promised to be safe, grabbed their jackets. "Just like old times," Amelia said. "Better," Hunter corrected. "We're not alone anymore." They drove into the Atlanta night, phone glowing between them, answering the call that others ignore. The cycle of rescue and healing continues. Bigger than them now. Legacy built from one wrong number that dialed exactly the right heart. For anyone watching who's ever felt trapped in darkness, remember, one brave text, one honest reach for help can rewrite your entire story. Love isn't always soft. Sometimes it arrives like thunder and stays like home. Amelia learned that rescue isn't weakness. It's the door to your own strength. Hunter learned that redemption isn't erasure. It's choosing light every single day. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs hope tonight. You're not alone. National Domestic Violence Hotline 1-800-799-7233. Your second chance is one call away.